to hear. Perfect. It is Thursday, April 22nd, 2021, and it is just my absolute joy to be able to be here once again with all of you. I will let you know I missed each and every one of you. I love that we get together once a week. I'm incredibly proud of what we're building here, what we're doing as a community, as what we're doing as a region. And we know that, and I'm not sure if maybe you guys don't know this, but the Mannings have actually received an award. They were the top 3 network vice presidents. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is firmly on each and every one of your shoulders. You guys have been showing up, you've been moving your needle, you've been making sure that you're committed to our business and making sure that people are protected. So I want to thank each and every one of you, just to kind of start it off on a great note. I know that tonight, what we're doing, as we promised, is a recap. We're going to go ahead and look back last week. I believe that a lot of us were in that conference, or maybe have that VIP pass, so you'll be able to revisit anything that you may have missed. And then also there might be some folks who are new, or maybe didn't even realize like that the conference was happening. And so we get to bring them a little bit of that knowledge that of course is going to be permeated all through our company. Jim and I are going to actually get started with a little bit on some expectations for this meeting. We actually want to talk about certainly some exciting news that we heard from conference. We also want to set the stage for where we're going to move from today on. We're going to start with April, which obviously right now we have the recap. Next week, we're doing a business briefing, and I am going to say that I am looking for someone to do the membership side of the presentation for next week's briefing. And so I'm wondering, Holly, I'm wondering, Michelle, Steve, Constant Archer, if anybody might want to do the membership side of the presentation.
Holly, you can do it.
All right, so fantastic. So Holly's going to do that. Connie Ayot is going to be doing the business side of the presentation. And so can I have somebody to do a membership testimonial? Clifford, perfect. Hang on one second. So we have Holly, Connie, and then you're going to do the membership testimonial, Clifford. And who wants to do the associate business testimonial? Constant Archer? No? Steve Brown?
I don't know that I have anything to share this time.
Okay. All right. That's okay.
Well, does somebody want to take the other side and I'll take the other one?
Oh, there you go. Steve, will you do the membership?
I'll come up with something.
Okay. So you'll do the membership and then Clifford will do the business.
Perfect.
Beautiful. All right. So we are all set for next week. And so that does take us through April. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in my partner in crime, because we're going to talk about, it's going to lead in both from exciting news from the conference to what we have in store for you for May. I'm actually going to spotlight you because people are popping in.
All right, great. Let's see. Hostess spotlighted. Oh, okay, great. Hey, everybody. I hope you're all having a great day. I'm having a great day. I'm down at Cape Cod, and so I'm not in my normal office where you're probably used to seeing me, but we're having a great time here in the area. We've got internet, which means we can run our LegalShield business from absolutely anywhere, including where I'm sitting at my kitchen counter right now. So I'm excited coming out of convention. I actually participated in the entire convention from here as well. Put it up on the big screen in the living room, and I was so excited and glad to see all of the pictures on Facebook and Instagram and text from folks that were participating, watching the live stream from wherever you were. It was great to see everybody sharing their setup and to see where they were watching it from. I think about my first convention 17 years ago. I know I'm here today because I attended that convention on that day. Now, that was in person, and some people have parsed this recently and said, is one better than the other? I think participating in your business in every possible way is the absolute most important thing you can do. Participating in your business, being involved in your business. For some people, as we move into this modern era or post-COVID era or whatever we're going to call it, that might mean virtual, that might mean in person. I make no judgment about that. People that are plugged into their business, focused on their legal show business, however you do that, is awesome and inspirational. And listen, someday they might be beaming us in Scotty, right, Joe? Like on Star Trek, who knows? But however you get to your convention, get to your convention. And again, congratulations from all of you that attended. And we're going to be hearing feedback from some folks tonight. I'll just add mine to get us started. I would think after all of these years that it would be virtually impossible for me to come on to any kind of call, wrap up, webinar, Zoom, or whatever, and say this was the best convention I've ever attended. But the reality is, it was. This convention for me, I heard exactly what I needed to hear. The things I needed were provided to me. And I know that was the case for each member of my team and every one of you. And that's why it's so important. There's a lesson there that's why we bring our people to this event. As leaders, we have to get people to experience it for themselves, because you don't know, and I don't know what that man or woman needs to hear, but we know that it exists at the convention, and it'll be laid down for them by somebody in an impactful way. And don't be frustrated if it's the exact same thing you've been trying to tell them. I've been through that on both ends. It might be the exact same thing. Darnell Self says the exact same thing to your team that you said to them, and all of a sudden they figure it out. Maybe it's Don Thompson or whoever it is. Be glad that they got that information. Joe, I'm excited for tonight. I'm excited to hear from everybody else. We're going to talk about what's going on in the month of May as well, I understand, and I can get into that at any point in time. But I've got a couple of slides. You know, honestly, I can just talk. If these slides don't show up, Joe, you just tell me if
I think
this
you're going to
is,
be all right. So you should be able to share. There you go. Your screen sharing. Perfect.
it's working. Okay, great. So one thing I'll say about this is that on topic of convention, I built my business from event to event, from one big event, not ignoring the other important elements of the business in between these 6-month periods, but building from one event to the other. I know most of you that I'm talking to on this webinar right now, you already secured your ticket or a bundle of tickets for Phoenix. But if any of you are unclear about how this is going to work, I just wanted to address this. We all need a ticket for the convention, whether we're going to attend in person or virtually. We all need a ticket. So that's your event ticket. That gets you in the door live and in person. There will be a VIP bundle package. I believe the price point is going to be $29. That's going to be a separate purchase for those of you. There'll be other things in the bundle, but for those of you that want to experience the event virtually, then you'll just add the VIP bundle. And if you're not going to be able to join us in Phoenix, but we all need a ticket. So some people were wondering, well, if I'm going to be a part of the live stream, should I get a ticket? Yes, get your ticket and communicate this to your team and to your friends in Legal Shield so they know as well that they're going to need a ticket to the event. And then at some point in the near future, Legal Shield will put out those VIP bundles. I just want to touch on a couple of things because Don Thompson sent this slide deck out to the regional managers. ID Shield for Business, we could spend the entire Zoom talking about the magnitude of this in our lives, to be able to open the door, to have conversations with business owners for this incredible service that is like nothing else in the marketplace. 3 hours were devoted to this, to train and to help people understand the power of this ID Shield for Business product. So I'm not going to try to replicate any of what was said there. And all that training is available on replay. I saw the emails going out in the last 24 hours. So if you were there live, great, watch the replay, because I'm sure there's something you missed. That's one of my homeworks for myself this weekend. And if you missed it, be grateful that it was recorded and it's available for you. We want to make sure everybody knows about ID Shield for Business. Maybe you're never going to walk through the front doors of a business and offer this yourself, but you're going to have people on your team that are going to be marketing this service, and you want to know exactly what it is so that you can communicate your excitement about it to them. And for many of us, we see this as a perfect opportunity to start a conversation. First of all, this is a great standalone product, but it also can lead into opening a group account, marketing a small business plan in the states that have that available. It just opens doors and it allows us to provide services and be value added contributors to our communities, to make change in our communities that's meaningful. So I'm excited about that as well. And I'm not going to go through all these
Hold
slides.
on. I've
Yes,
got to,
ma'am.
I've got to stop you. You failed to mention one of the best pieces of information about the ID Shield for Business.
Well, go ahead and I'll
I
bring
know
it
you're,
back
I
to the
know that
slide
I've
for
left you
There you go.
speechless. It is available in
Available in
Massachusetts. It's
That's correct.
available in Massachusetts. You have to say that twice, maybe even 3 times. One more time. It's available in Massachusetts and it's available for nonprofits. Unbelievable. Forgive
got
my
it.
interruption. Please go on.
No interruption at all. So dig into that training, learn every facet about it. All the questions are answered. Again, I was on there live. It's a great training, and get this in front of people. Let me just go through a couple of other things that I think are important. So the Restart Resource Center, which is now in your Prospect by LegalShield tool, allows you, again, to provide service to members of your community. We've got the new Our Time Is Now video, the new digital brochure, which I've been sending out to folks. You know, a lot of times especially when we're recruiting, we're sending information to people and they're just not in a place where they can watch a video with the audio on. And isn't it great that there's a digital brochure? At the very least, it's a great entry into why they should watch the video, why they should plug into additional materials. So utilize that. I think they did a great job on that. It looks great on your desktop computer, it looks great on your mobile phone. I'm excited about that. And then some of these slides are just placeholders, but I just want to say a couple things. First of all, Performance Club, I would skip these if I could. They're going to announce the next Performance Club trip in Phoenix. We have some folks that qualified for Cabo San Lucas. That was announced at the convention. We want you on these trips with us. In 2022, wherever that's going to be, we're going to be walking another one of the beaches of the world together with our mentors and our friends in LegalShield. And the great thing about this is we are all, each and every one of us, invited. I want to make sure you understand you're invited. You're invited to every one of these Performance Club trips. Accept the invitation, get qualified, be in Performance Club this month and every month, and you'll be well on your way. So that's what I wanted to cover. There's one other announcement. I don't have a slide for it. The $99 Business Builder Bundle extended for the remainder of the month. I think that's phenomenal. In my team, we've seen our recruiting triple through the Business Builder Bundle. It's not right for everybody, but it's an exciting way to talk about the business and to create, watch this now, some urgency, some scarcity, right? It matters. There's a value in getting started in April instead of May. There's a value in getting started today instead of tomorrow. That's important. We don't always have that, and people love to procrastinate. So let's take advantage of that. Joe, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I'm excited to hear from everybody. You're going to ask me to cover something, right?
Don't go
Don't
anywhere quite yet. So one of the things, and again, starting the meeting off this way, is that we went over April, but one of the exciting pieces is that at the conference, they talked about some incentives for executive directors. And Jim and I had actually been already talking about this. Again, your commitment, your consistency in showing up at this meeting. And I do feel terrible that a lot of folks are going to see this, this recording after the fact, but just the being an executive director is the direction we are headed in, right? This is where we want to bring our teams, ourselves. And I happen to know that Mr. Jim Tanner has this amazing service, like informational and training that he does, which is called an Executive Director Boot Camp. And then on top of that, LegalShield added incentives to have us, to drive us towards that executive director level. And so I asked Jim, I said, you know, these people are amazing. How about in May, for there's 4 weeks in May, why don't, for those first 3 weeks, maybe you can bring some of that executive director boot camp to our team, to our region. And he said no. And I went over there and no, that's not true. He said absolutely yes, because You guys are amazing. You deserve it. I want to get there. I know you want to get there. And this is a man with a plan. So every week in May, with the exception of the last week, which is the briefing, he's going to be bringing us pieces of his executive director training boot camp for us. How is that? Is that a like, yeah, come
Yeah.
on, do a little shout. Woo! Like, I just am so excited. And I will tell you, and this is just between us, we came up with this idea first before LegalShield decided to throw some incentive money at it. So I just want you to know that we were not the cart before the horse. No, is that how that works? No, we're the horse. We're driving this. And so I'm just so excited to let you guys know. And again, I want you to reach out to your teams. We are building capacity here. We're building connection. And so that's incredibly critical. The last piece about our group and about the things that we're doing is that Jim and I have also talked about an in-person event. I want to be clear, we are staying on Zoom. This is not changing the Thursday night event. I know that some folks have asked us to entertain time. I'm not going to bring that up today because I want to figure out how to poll and how to get that information from you guys about what time works. What I am going to say is the week after our fall conference. So our fall conference is the first week of October, so 1st through 3rd. That next Saturday, put in your calendar, and I will make a save the date. We're going to look to have some sort of community builder coming together. By then, hopefully there'll be enough people who are vaccinated. There'll be enough people who have had access to what they need to be protected. It gives us 6 months to drive towards that. If it's not safe, we will just do something online and find another fun way to do it. But our intention is very much about community building, and it's not going to be a conference. It's not going to be a webinar. I mean, it's not going to be like work. It's the point of it's going to be fun and something that we all do together. So please plug your folks into us, and also just put that date down. I don't know. I think it might be, I'm not looking at a calendar. So if someone will put that in the chat, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
And
that following Saturday, family friendly.
yep, kid friendly,
Celebration.
family friendly, something very possibly outdoors so that so we're already still forward thinking about how COVID impacts groups. Something with some activity to it, something that's also maybe centralized. We're looking at that kind of mid place between all the states so that everybody can feel like they have an equal burden to drive to the location. And so I just wanted to put that on the table. This is a great time to start the next 6 months, the next 90-day run. And so I hope that you guys continue to enjoy what we're dishing out every single week. And Jim, thank you so much. I am really excited about that executive director boot camp. I think it's going to be, thank you, October 9th. I think that's going to be amazing, and I can't wait.
Thank you.
So
Carol.
what
And
you bring
I'm
to-
excited for that as well. It's been 9 years every month. Danielle and I have qualified for executive director. It's gotten easier and easier every month. And there's a formula to that. It's not a secret, but it's worth exploring. And we're going to unpack that methodically over a 3-week period. I'm excited to have that real time to really dig into it and make it an experience where people can build upon their knowledge and then execute on that weekly. And again, let's bring an army of executive directors to Phoenix, Arizona.
Nothing
beginning of that.
shows our pride better than just continuing to show up on the map. People don't know, they have comments about Massachusetts, they have thoughts, like, we are showing up, we are on that radar. So just keep doing what you guys are doing. You are phenomenal. And so, Jim, thank you so much. I am going to start to invite some of actually everybody. I'm going to invite folks to come up to just tell a little bit about what you got from conference. It was an amazingly rich experience. The platform that we're using, it is 9:34, so my intention is to just go till about 10 o'clock. I'm going to ask for, let's start with 2 network folks. We're going to start the network, and then we're going to go and we'll see about some B2B, some business solutions. You're going to just bring us one piece, one element that really struck you. And it doesn't have to be a lesson. It doesn't have to be content. It could be anything that was important to you as a member of our community, and where you feel that the conference gave something to you. So Who wants to go first? I'm trying to let you guys volunteer, but I've learned very well to also volunteer. And so I see Constance. Thank you so much for coming up. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you and ask you to unmute yourself. And while she's unmuting herself, I am going to note her Ladies of Justice tiara. That was one of, I'm sure you're going to talk about that, but I just want to say how beautiful it is. And you look incredibly
Thank you.
regal.
It keeps disappearing in my background. I have to tell you, my most important thing for me is the stories, because the stories that we heard were so powerful. And I like to share my stories with Prospect app. And they were instantly in the minute that they were told during convention, they were instantly into the Prospect app that we can share. And the stories that I particularly like were the opportunity ones with Cliff Malloy, Mike Humes, Steve Hoisington's story about having brain cancer. That is on there for us to share with people. And Jackie Cote's story about being in the fire. And that one, so I used to be in a rescue squad, so that gives me PTSD when I see it, but it was so powerful. And we also have Daniel Abbott's story about the tornado. That's in Prospect. We can share that with people. And all the legends of LegalShield stories are in there also. And so and that leads into the part with the legend of LegalShield story with Nick and Gail Surba. I didn't realize Gail's background. I knew a little bit that she started Ladies of Justice a long time ago because I was part of that. And I mean, we're talking a long time ago, but I didn't realize that her background was really women empowerment. I didn't know that part about her, so that was really amazing. And so then that leads into the Ladies of Justice sessions this year were, oh my gosh, they were outstanding. And that's my tiara, which keeps disappearing here. But we've come a long ways with the Ladies of Justice just since we started this new relaunch, I would call it. The Ladies of Justice are just, if you can get a playback of any of their sessions, the breakouts, they were incredible. So that's it. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much. Wow. Ladies of Justice, we see that beautiful tiara. And remember, we've talked about it here before, that this is about storytelling. We are story collectors. And I agree with you. I love how quickly it got into the Prospect app. Is it under testimonials or?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right. Who is next? Who would like to share a little something? All right. I see you. There you go.
So yeah, the stories were absolutely incredible. Hearing from everybody, the Nick and Gail Serba one really got me as well. Just hearing their story and seeing their beautiful home. That home is inspiration in itself. I want to go there. But some of the things that I took away from the convention was so much. I actually typed out my notes so I could actually take notes faster because I just had so many. One of the things that Mike Riches said about that you must improve your personality if you want to improve your personal reality. I thought that was a good kind of quote. And just really developing yourself and not treating this as a hobby and treating it as a business. And that's one thing that I am guilty of. I am going to be honest, I didn't even really write down goals until this year. And so really working on that and working on improving myself and my business and communication. Brian Parker's his 60-second speech talking about that. That's something I need to get down. And it was just absolutely incredible, everything.
Oh, fantastic. I guess you could hear me snapping. I'm like, yes, fantastic. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so much wisdom coming off that table, but I love that. I love that you're also just honest with us and saying that, you know, you haven't done your goals yet. And, you know, a lot of us, we do come into this, and it's not that because we think it's easy, but just that simplicity. And then we just don't put the the structure around it. So I cannot wait to we're going to talk about goals, because that's what May's all about. So get ready, everybody. All right, who is next? And if you are not speaking, please mute yourself if you don't mind. So, okay, Amy, hang on one second.
I was just making a second to allow the second. It's I like the most opportunity that he be to maintain. It's like about my goal to taking better goals. Because he also, I had a fear he used the first time that it's first time I was been hungry. I was like, okay, so I knew it. I'm done. But like hey, by come on, my child, be their customer. The third by a more customer, fucking and my I knew one of the things public.
Wonderful. Fantastic. So Amy broke out of her shell. So the information was important, but Amy found the way through Ladies of Justice to feel like she was part of a group, that she was able to make connections, and that takes a lot. And so that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy, for commenting. And while we don't get that experience as much doing things virtually, I love that the Ladies of Justice allowed you that opportunity, because that's just the smallest taste of what it's going to be like when we do get to go back in person, because there's just so much value there. Thank you so much, Amy. And all right, who is next? Who is next to share? I see you, Miss True. I'm going to go ahead and bring you on.
Hi. I was really pleased with the network fundamentals. I think that the whole 7 presentation of them was great, but Marty Galano in particular, his psychology of follow-up, I think was a real breakthrough for me when he started talking about those statistics and how 48% of people never follow up. And I found that incredible. I just brought on a new associate that I've been talking to since last June. That's how long it's taken to get her. And to think that I could have stopped after 1 time or 2 times and she wouldn't be on my team now, because follow-up is so important. And so most sales are made on the 4th follow-up or beyond. So people really need to step up their game and not be afraid. And that's what Marty talks about too, that fear is really stopping people, and you have to overcome that fear so that you can push forward and do the work and get the people. And it was really inspiring to me, I think. And as with everyone else, the stories were incredible. The tears flowed. But it was an incredible conference, and I enjoyed every minute of it. I never felt bored. I never stopped writing. I have an entire notebook full of notes that I'm going to redo, because I can't read half of them because I was writing so fast. So that's a
Perfect. Fantastic. So Marty Galano is our B2B, our business to business guy. And so what he reminds us too, and what Michelle's pointing out is that there's so much we can learn from that, right? So even if you're not a business to business person, a B2B person, the fortune is in the follow-up. Michelle, that's perfect. We've heard it time and time again. And just a reminder that they do have this tomorrow, and it might be too late, but tomorrow they're doing the level 1 B2B training, and next Friday they're doing the level 2, and they're giving them away for free. So any chance that you can just even sit and listen on it, it's absolutely worth it. All right, all right. Who is next? I see a little activity. Mr. Brown, do you have something to share from this last weekend? I'm going to bring you up to the stage. All right.
I am the world's worst note taker. So I just threw my pen down and went and bought the VIP ticket. So I'm going to go back and watch this again in little chunks. What I can say that struck me was how paying attention and to the sales that you've already made can improve your retention so much. I don't remember all of what they talked about. I did take some pictures with my phone, and the difference in your income, I think they said at one point, 1% increase in retention equals 4% increase in your pay, in your income, something like that. So those were amazing numbers. If you can just improve your retention by 1%, you'll see the difference in your pocketbook. And so that's something I'm going to pay attention to when I go back and review.
Excellent. And, you know, I want to here in our space, in our home here that we have every Thursday, you don't have to be the best note taker. You can be if that's your prize, you want to be the world's worst, I will give you that first prize. But I just want to remind you that we all come to this in our own ways. And so it doesn't matter if you wrote everything down in a notebook. That's a good habit for us to get into. But that's not the end result. The end result is what you just said. And this, I think it's a really important reminder that customer service is a part of this. And sometimes we get so focused on the hunt that we forget that we're actually in it for them, right? That we're not actually hunting them. We're trying to bring them something amazing. So Steve, I think you're the world's best note taker, because that's a piece that I think is very easy to overlook. And so thank you for bringing that back to us. I appreciate it. Excellent, excellent. Let's see, who else? Miss Day, have we heard from you yet? Oh, I see Michael as well. So Miss Day, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, and then Michael, you'll be after.
I mean, it was phenomenal. Absolutely. Everything about it, you know, I did the ladies of justice breakout, and I did, you know, the small business, but you know, the general sessions really were, I loved how they did, you know, with the B2B side and networking, all of the fundamentals and all of the, you know, it was just, there was so much information there that I think, you know, everybody should have had to have learned something, you know what I mean? That's, and I just liked how they set it up. I really do. You know, like Kim Melia, I think I've got a lot out of her, because Martine Gerardo, I just love her to death. So, I mean, she's just one of my favorites. But, you know, everybody was just fantastic. And the stories, yeah, were absolutely phenomenal. So I agree. I definitely have to go back and watch, because it was so much information. And like you said, you know, I'm with Steve. I mean, I take notes, but, you know, you can only process so much. So.
Absolutely. And thank you very much. Yeah, it was very rich. It absolutely was very rich. And that's I think that's also the cool thing about our company, is that no matter what, once again, we're able to look at the information, things that we've probably heard before, and still walk away and be like, that is a new story. That's a great story. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And then we're talking about general sessions, and still there's something to walk away with. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your contribution. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I saw Michael's hand up. Let's find my friend. All right, add spotlight. All right, Michael.
All right. Hello, everybody. I mean, I think everybody's stories were just awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got choked up with Jackie Cote's story. But there were so many of the presenters that said, when you draw your line in the sand. I mean, there's so many people that start with LegalShield, but their business doesn't start until they draw that line in the sand. And I think that part's huge. And I think I hope I've definitely drawn my line in the sand. And, you know, I go back to, I think it was the last conference that we had where Alex Shahid said that, you know, he's an overnight success, but that overnight success took him 10 years. Everybody didn't see what led up to that. They just see him exploding all of a sudden, but you know, he's been in the business 10 years. So I think that part is just huge. And you know, I think every one of us is 3 inches away from gold. I mean, there's so many people that quit and they're that close to getting that next, you know, that next executive director on their team, but they just walk away because you know, life happens, things happen. And if they just put their head down and keep going with it, they can strike gold. And I think that line in the sand is huge with everybody. And when is your LegalShield business starting? So that's what I got out of it.
I'm going to tell you that I am actually about 10 inches from gold because you guys are all gold. But Michael, I thank you again for bringing that into our speaking our truth, because you know, we're saying you don't know who the next executive director is that's going to come in. Think about it. Someone above you is looking at you with those same eyes, is looking at you and saying, this might be our next executive director. Right. And so I think what you said also goes back to, you know, the bigger picture of what Jim said earlier, is that each of you is invited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And just to, you know, to the credit to everybody on this call, I mean, Lisa, Holly, we're on the same team. We probably never would have connected if it wasn't for something like this. I mean, Holly was, you know, instant messaging me this week. Lisa and I have, you know, traded messages back and forth on this call, and things like that probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Joe and Jim.
Well, thank you so much
you.
for that. Oh, we are all in service of each other. I think that, and I just want to double check, but I think we have gone through everybody who is present. And that, oh, Clifford, hey, there you are. You're in my, in the Alice spot. You're that center square for me right now. Hang on a second.
Hey, I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
That's right, in the middle. All right.
Yeah, so lots of great information. I loved all the fundamentals. I still need to be reminded of them. But the most startling thing that I heard was two of the presenters gave 1.5, 2-minute snapshots. I am going to do a DM meeting in 2 minutes, and thinking about, you know, I've heard conversations about having a signature presentation and then making it various lengths before. I haven't applied that framework to this work until I heard it this weekend. And so now I have to create a minute presentation, a 2-minute presentation, a 5-minute presentation, and a 10-minute presentation that I roll out for the appropriate length, depending upon who I'm standing in front of, right? Or who I'm Zooming with, right? There are some people that are going to give me 90 seconds and some people will give me 10 minutes. But so I have to be prepared to provide the information to get to the next conversation, because that's all that first conversation is about, is getting to the second conversation. I need the tools to be able to do that in 90 seconds. So that's what I'm going to be working on the next week.
Awesome. Fantastic. And you also, Clifford, had brought in another of the elements that was really honed in this time, is they really looked at that customer service piece. Who are we talking to? What are their needs, right? So in the networking side, we're talking one-to-one with people. We need to think about how we present ourselves, right? How are we showing up for them? in the business to business, in the B2B side, it's a bit of a different mentality. There's definitely some different interfaces, how we talk and how we address the decision makers, who are the people who make those decisions, but it's still coming back to the same thing. How am I showing up? So I love that the 2 minute, the 1 minute, there's actually on YouTube, I believe there's an Alistair Edwards. I remember it early on being turned on to this. Alistair Edwards, who's like a B2B like king, doing the whole presentation, I think in like 4 minutes, and just like hitting every spot. So thank you for bringing that up. Again, we are giving you, LegalShield is giving us the permission to find our ways into this business. Thank you, Clifford, for your share. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And so as we're wrapping up, we're at the final 5 minutes. Jim, am I able to bring you back in? Because I do want to add what my takeaway was.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me see. I have my notebook, and actually I don't need my notebook for this first piece because this is a show off moment. I was watching the conference like everybody else, and then they got to the Cabo trip, and then they started rolling a whole bunch of names in alphabetical order. And it turns out that I am going on my first Cabo trip. And so while it's completely about me for that moment, the bigger picture, thank you very much. I see a lot of the applause. The bigger picture is also just that reminder that we're all invited. Like I would have never, I mean, that comes with this idea that, and not the idea. So I'm even changing my language as I tell you. I am one of the top 150 producers in our company on the network side. And it sounds impossible, right? There's a part of me that's like, what? But at the same time, that's what we're doing here. And so this is my first trip, and I'm hoping that the next trip, more of you guys are coming along with me to that, because you see me, you see my hustle, right? We're all in the same boat. And somehow my hustle brought me above the line. And that line is, I gotta be straight with you, it's actually way closer than you'd think. So the only reason we're not all going to Cabo yet is because we haven't had this conversation. And now that we have, I'm inviting each and every one of you to keep me accountable, but that we all go to Cabo next for the next trip. And so my other piece was, and these are some of my notes. I have other notebooks already. I feel like I fall in love, and I think I've said this before, I feel like I fall in love with LegalShield on a regular basis. And this conference does that to me too. Like I feel like I fall in love. The legacy stories, I just thought were amazing. I thought that they handled them in just such a beautiful way. And again, just, it's not always about the lessons learned, but the way we treat each other, the way we treat the people who have worked hard. The fact that I could look at someone who may feel like they're in the same market or whatever, and we look at each other and say, good for you. And that brings me a lot of pride. I'm going to bring you in, Jim. Where are you? There you are. I'm going to add you to the mix, and we're at 9:58. So we're just wrapping up. And do you have any final words for us? Anything that you personally, like, what was a good takeaway or any comments? I guess I'm giving you the last word today.
It's so I'm not often at a loss for words, but to articulate the way it feels to come out of convention is a challenge. And I remember going home from my first convention, a changed man, right? And then to have to go back and face people that didn't experience a moment of change. Now, in this situation, a lot of us experienced that by walking from the room we were watching our convention into another room in our home where we had support that wasn't equal to our enthusiasm. I know that's true. I just want to put it out there. But I want to remind everybody that it is not anyone else's duty to support, celebrate, or encourage any of us to something we haven't yet done. It would be easy for us to lay it upon other people, to put it at their feet, to say, if only he or she or they would have supported me more, I would have done more. And I challenge you, as someone who's walked this road for 17 plus years, flip it around. flip it around. In any feeling where you feel like you're not supported enough, ask yourself, what can I do more to show that I'm worthy of that support? In any moment where you feel not celebrated within the confines of your own home, you know you have a family here that gets you, that understands what you're going through and that supports you. But just flip it around, and in that confines of your home, do more, commit more, put more energy into the limited time you do have for your business, and walk with pride to know I'm going to show them. Listen, let me just be honest with you, not to brag or boast, but to tell you that we are in the same business. I showed them all, okay? They told me it wasn't possible at all, that it wasn't real. And then I put $1 million plus in my bank account. You can show them all. This is your moment. If anything, our convention is permission to dream again, a muscle that often we forget how to work, and it becomes dormant. And then we don't dare to dream again. We don't dare to tell other people what we want out of life because we don't want them to tell us that it's not possible. And then we don't even dare to tell ourselves quietly because we don't want to live a life of disappointment. And instead, we flip that and we trade it in for a life of quiet desperation. Both are a choice. This LegalShield convention, I hope you took as an opportunity to start again, to build anew. For many of you, you've just started in this business. It's permission to dream again. It's permission to take what the types of dreams and longings we had as children, that we could be astronauts, that we could go to another planet. Things that were taken away from us, robbed from us through ridicule or reality as it was provided to us growing up. Take it back, own it. You are part of a company that paid $1 billion to the field over the last 10 years. You're part of a company where attorneys general stand up and say, do this more. Do it now. What you do matters and is important. You're part of a company that's helping business owners know how to reopen, to re-engage, and to protect their data. You're part of a company that opens the door for people to be entrepreneurs. It has never been more important than it is right now for people to be entrepreneurs. And let me just say this, we'll get fired up. People know that they need to be entrepreneurs. People are looking on the internet and searching to be entrepreneurs. And if we don't get what we do in front of people, they will get their pockets picked by some of the most ruthless gangsters ever. They're on the internet right now. And they're these gurus that will sell you coaching and programs and packages for $500 to $5,000 to $50,000. There are people that are mortgaging their homes and getting into debt and making their whole lives in peril for business ideas, concepts, and pitches that will ruin them. And we have a business that you can start for $99. That's what it costs, but that's not what it's worth. You can start it for the lowest price ever, and it's worth millions of dollars. It provides inspiration for us to live our lives, to get up earlier, to stay up later, to do something meaningful and have a mission. It involves building a great income for our families, changing your life if you'll let it. I've let this business change my life. I didn't go into this, as many people do, trying to prove that it couldn't be possible and figure out ways to mess it up on my own behalf. I was coachable. I had a burning desire to succeed. And I know that you are all here due to, that's why you're here. I just want you to know, and Joe, I'll just end with this. Understand, look on your screen at the rest of the folks that joined you here today. Think back at the chat flying by this past weekend. You are part of a group of people that gets it and understands. These are people that are rowing the boat in the same direction you're rowing. They're going where you're going. They're doing what you're doing. You're not off with some crazy idea by yourself. You're part of something meaningful and important, and you're part of it with a group of people that understand that it's meaningful and important. And the stakes have never been higher. The stakes have never been higher. We've watched businesses by the hundreds and thousands and millions across 2 countries shut down with no hopes of ever opening up again. Not because they had a bad business model, not because they were frivolous in their research or that they spent money inappropriately. No, they were open one day and shut the next. External forces killed their dreams. And we have flourished. We shouldn't feel guilty about the fact that we have flourished. We should tell that story so others can flourish too. This is what we do, but we need to do it more, faster, with greater intensity and urgency, because it's never mattered as much as it matters right now. Will you become a millionaire in this business if you do what the millionaires before you have done? Yeah, it's virtually guaranteed. The business is about to celebrate 50 years on the planet. We have stood and proven the test of time. The money's there, the opportunity works. Families, 275 families like mine have paid over $1 million. Can you imagine what your life would be like if LegalShield put $1 million in your checking account over the next few years? Would it change your house, your car, where your kids go to school? Because it changed all of that for me. And that's what it does. And again, I'm not here to be celebrated as the person who did it. I am here to be an example that a guy that was delivering furniture on one end of a sofa, flipping it so it could fit up the stairs of a triple decker in Rhode Island. That was my contribution to society. And LegalShield said, if you want to do the work, we will teach you this business. If you're coachable and you have a desire, we will teach you how to become a millionaire in America. And by the way, you get to help people while you do it. They didn't ask me for a resume. They didn't check my credit. They didn't care. That's what you're a part of. And I sincerely hope if you didn't feel passionate about sharing that before this past weekend, that it has ignited in you that passion coming out of the convention. Be a dreamer. Dare to dream boldly and proudly. Because while you dream and realize your dreams, you're also giving others permission to dream as well. Because just like many of us suffered silently, the people around us are doing the same. There is hope for the hopeless. There is a future for those that don't see it. But we have to breathe it into existence. Show it to them, share it with them. Grab them by the hand and lead them a new way. Be grateful that someone did that for you and I, and never let it end with us. Pay it forward. Open more doors today and tomorrow because someone opened that door for you. Joe, I'm incredibly appreciative to be a part of this group of like-minded, passionate, integrity-filled entrepreneurs. I'm grateful that we had this time tonight. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Next week is a briefing, so please bring guests. We've got some amazing speakers. We have testimonials, and we are looking to fill this room in May. Make sure you have fresh notebooks, fresh pens, because we are doing an ED run. Lots of love. See you guys.